Service! Hey everyone, welcome to Chef Sense. I'm your host, Chef Massey. I want to take a minute real quick just to say I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving and a successful season upcoming in the holiday run. All right, so this one is a solo flight with me, and it is for people that are looking to get into our industry that say, hey, I want to be a chef. So it's just some insights that I'm putting out there for those that are interested. All right, take care and be safe. And away we go. Maybe this is a career path that you want to take. Maybe you've had people in your family or you've taken an interest in it some way, somehow. This is what you think you want to do. In that, I am biased. I do truly believe this is the best industry in the world. It has given me a career path and the ability to become the best human being that I could have ever imagined. It's challenged me in ways that I would have never expected. It is an intense industry. It is a beautiful industry that goes along with the people that I am very grateful to have crossed paths with, stayed connected with over all my years. So yeah, I've been in the food and beverage industry or in kitchens at a very young age, at 14 years old in an upscale Italian restaurant. Yeah, I got into it because, it was more normal to be in a chaotic kitchen than wanting to be at home. It was my home away from home. The bug bit me then, and I've been in it ever since. I've been an executive chef for coming up on 22 years now. I've ran large brand hospitality groups from Marriott to Wyndham to, Sheraton and even luxury side of things. I was with Canyon Ranch Resort for about 11 years. I've run the gamut of, multiple outlets and being privileged to have, a brigade kitchen with all the sub-departments. So it has been the best journey I could have ever imagined for myself. And again, like I mentioned, it's pushed me in ways that you really find out what you're made of. If you want to look to get into our industry, I have to say, brace yourself for a lot of memories and a lot of intense and also very amazing people. When you look in kitchens, I don't want to say that we're a group of people that in society we're the black sheep, because we're all combined in kitchens. And I think that's what makes it so much fun, because you have that ability with with everyone with so many different perspectives. It really opens your mind up to push creativity, to push your leadership style, to build an all-inclusive learning environment. And, that also makes it a lot of fun as well. It is very stressful. It's one of the most stressful jobs in the world. That being said, why is that? Well, you have, as chefs, we're engineered and we kind of raise each other up with this very high expectation that perfection is number one. I know that sounds very intense, and it is, but to be honest with you, whether it's a small mom and pop Italian restaurant to, high-end restaurants and everything, people in our industry push hard at what they're doing, period. There are different talent levels. There are different abilities. There's different cuisines. Like I mentioned, different character types, and you mash all that up in an industry. And man, if you don't get a wonderful, entertaining group of people to work with. Food can take you wherever you wish you could be. You can travel the world. And that's a part of that journey, staying that course, thinking about what you want from the industry and how knowledgeable you want to be. You learn culture, you learn groups of people. It's a very powerful, amazing process. You can impact your local community, you can impact your region. You also have the opportunity to impact someone's day. They could come in having just a horrible day because of the food passion, the service passion that your establishment has, the power to actually help someone maybe turn their day around. finish their day in a better position, and I think that just says so much to what we truly can do with food, affecting our areas and the people around us. So not just, how we are in our kitchens with our own teams or, front and back of the house as leaders, but in our community. There are amazing culinary schools that we have here in the United States. The CIA, the Culinary Institute of America, they have a couple of campuses, and, obviously they have some online stuff too as well for continuing education. Johnson Wales is another excellent culinary school. I believe both of those still offer a 4-year degree, which is pretty intense. You have a wide variety. You also have like tech schools. If you're coming up and you're looking at a high school and you're starting out and that looks exciting, you can go into that. You can also do community college. Many community colleges have food service programming. Again, if this is what you want to do, think about some questions, and reach out to those people. See if you can spend some time with them. I always recommend that people trying to do a year or two, even before they go into culinary school. It does give you a level of an edge. The other thing I want to advise, oftentimes coming out of culinary school, you are in this mindset that you're going to walk into a head chef, executive chef role, upper level management. Sometimes I do think that the culinary schools do have a tendency to have students feel as though that they could go right into something. I always say, don't rob yourself of the journey. Don't cheat yourself of growing, running the course, taking those steps on each level, coming up the ladder. I think it's very important. Sometimes one thing I have noticed is, especially today and as time has gone along, as food and being a chef has elevated itself, and, especially in the last 35 years or so, you need to earn the stripes. You got to earn your way. And not only just for yourself, but for those that you're going to be leading in those kitchens. The more you learn, the more valuable you are in the market, the more seasoned you are because we deal with a variety of incoming issues. I'm not, it's sometimes you're playing the game of whack-a-mole. Some of us use that terminology in the industry that, you're putting out fires, and obviously your goal is to get the wisdom between the ears to extend those years, right? You're seasoned in those challenges, those moments. And, I'm not saying either hold yourself back, but that also you're constantly evaluating yourself. So again, don't rob yourself of just, I'm out of school. I've done this. I'm going to walk right into it. You can, I think you're only going to add to yourself more wisdom if you just allow the journey to happen as well. Take those windows of opportunity and keep pushing. I am one that did not go to culinary school. It's a very long road. I don't want to downplay 30 years ago, things have changed, and know that too, that we are an industry that, because we're so driven, we're always looking and pushing ourselves on trends. We're looking at some of our, our leadership in the industry, those that are elite chefs, men and women that, keep plowing the road ahead, and the rest of us are just filling right in, doing what we love to do in our own way. Take a look at, that what you want out of it, some questions. What's the lifestyle like? What's the pay like? There's plenty of things that you could probably mill over and write down so that you're prepared. The life of a chef it's very hard, demanding, but it's very rewarding. I think many of us do struggle with finding boundaries. That's another side, to be honest with you, that you're going to have to figure out the balance, because when the family, you have a significant other and you decide children come along, or you're just starting a new relationship, or you have other things outside, that when people want to do things, and when holidays come up, weekends and things like that, we're in the kitchen. We are in the kitchen. Again, there are some jobs that different hospitality or, positions that you're able to manipulate your schedule a little bit more. But It is trying to figure out balance. You're growing as a human being, you're growing as a chef, and you're growing with those that you're privileged to lead. It can be quite a bit. You're looking at the responsibilities of that position. A head chef, executive chef position oversees at times multiple outlets. It oversees, meaning that you could have a couple restaurants. You could have one restaurant, off-site catering, on-site catering. And in that, you could have a bake shop. You could have, a pastry team that, when you're creating things, you're working with that team, and you could have a bake shop where you're doing bread. So really the position is what you want to make out of it. I have to be honest with you that, the more you learn, the more knowledge you gain in those sub departments. There's many of us that we have a very base knowledge in pastry as a head chef, and some may not. You have cooks and pastry chefs in their own category there that their responsibility is to work with you, and you're a team developing menus. So I do highly advise that, get knowledgeable. I have a passion for pastry. I have a passion for bread baking. I have a high respect for those positions. But I know as a chef, at least for myself in leadership, it's important that the team knows that I have a knowledge base that I'm able to go and flow between, if there's a call out or if there's, whatever. It's the same thing I'm asking of that staff member. Can they cover that shift? Can they cover that position? And I expect of myself the same. So there's a lot to learn. There's a lot in being a chef. It's a lifelong process. I know that all of these years, I'm humble enough to tell you I don't know everything. I wish I did. I know quite a bit, but this industry, with how talented people are, with the generations coming up that I'm so proud of, and the current chefs that I'm so proud of in this country to see food where it's going, we are never going to stop. This career path is always evolving. If you're looking for something that just, is comfortable, and this is not it. This is not an 8-hour job. This is not, 40 hours a week. I mean, believe me, some places are seasonal, and, you try to do your best to keep those boundaries, but, it's kind of a position of being a boat captain. Oftentimes I kind of look at it that way because here you are, the boat's docked and you're filling the coffers and you're, checking equipment and you're doing your checklists and running through all that. And you get ready to head out to sea. You shove off and you're gone, and you could be gone for days. You could be gone for weeks. You could be gone for much longer. So in a kitchen, we can run in a very similar pattern that business levels are high, your season has started. You can go long stretches of time without stepping out of that. That's why I kind of correlate the two, is that, you've heard me mention about the boundaries, is that, you do need to be able to handle that and also understand you need to step away when you're docked. And maybe in the downtime or what have you, that you're taking that time for yourself. I want to make that clear to everyone that, in that position, that's how challenging it can be. You can go days without a day off. There's a lot of us that are in smaller operations that, we are tied to our line, not just expediting the front, getting food moving out with our runners and front of the house team. There's many of us that are positioned, front and center on the line. On the other side. And that's also very exciting too, don't get me wrong, but it can be very codependent. We are in there and it's full throttle. So you have to have that mental fortitude and that psychological stamina. The working chef, the lead by example, it can be all consuming, but that again, that's going back to what I mean by the example of a boat captain, that we are that every rivet, every noise that your boat makes. It's the same thing in a kitchen. All your equipment, how old it is, when it's been serviced last. It's your boat, it's your crew. And you have a great responsibility to them to keep things going, but in that you've got to make sure that you can still connect with yourself and those loved ones so that you can recenter yourself and then get back in there. So I know I've already talked about that, but it is very important to me because that's something that I struggle with. Hey, I'd like to take a moment just to share with you. I do have some affiliates that you can take advantage of. Go to chefmassey.com, my website. Click on my affiliates. Go down through there. You're going to see some companies like Vitamix, King Arthur Flour, Jasper Hill Farm, Zwilling, Wolf Fish, and Thrive Market. These guys are truly great companies. Take advantage of that. I also can get a hold of some promotions with some of these specific companies during this holiday season. So feel free to email me at james@chefmassey.com. I can look into more of those promotions with further detail to help you out. So thank you. And now back to the episode. Looking at the exciting side of a chef, of that knowledge, you've got menu creativity. I know social media has been a very big support to us on seeing what's out there and gaining quick knowledge, building menus. And then the financial side, you've got food costs to worry about. You've got labor costs, you got overhead. Sometimes places you're doing a remodel. So you're looking at redesigning your dining room, working with your front of the house team to educate them on your menu, not just your team in the kitchen, because it's so important that your team on the front there, I always say that a dining room, it's like a stage. You go to the play and you're sitting there, everybody behind the curtain and everybody on the stage, everybody has a part, and all of it is so important that when a guest or a customer comes in, that they buy into your play. The food comes out, the orchestra is going. And it's just, a well-run restaurant for me is so inspiring. I get so much joy out of seeing other chefs do well. It means so much to me because I know that they're doing their part, they're doing their thing, and they're killing it. And I'm proud of them for it. They keep my fire going. And that's another thing in this industry. You've got to keep your fire going. You got to keep the fire stoked. And how do you do that? That's getting out there. It's getting out with farms and businesses that inspire you, that you can feature on your menu, getting out to whatever it is, food shows, or taking that time with that chef that you're working with to learn more. How do they get inspired? How do they keep that passion going out to restaurants that those chefs you find inspiring? You can get in there and see their menus, taste their food, and take something away from it. But there's been, even in that side of it in kitchens, I've had the opportunity to work with farms that, if I could get it where a couple cooks could go over and butcher or do something with that farm, or we would go and pick on the farm and physically get out there. You only have so much time in your day. And I know that a lot of us get consumed. To be able to take your team out into the fields, see how they feed off of that is so amazing. It does so much for those that you're privileged to, like I said, to work with. That's how I keep my fire going. And when you're looking at this industry, take a look at chefs that inspire you. It's kind of like when you look at coming up, maybe you were an athlete or there's some sport that you like, that you found inspiration, and hey, I admire, Michael Jordan, any of them, right? And you're like, okay, you're there. I'm not you, but you're a role model, or you are that person that I'm putting in front of me as an example of some inspiration that I get from you that I wish someday I could be like or emulate in some way. And that's the same way with the chef. There's so many out there. You've got Daniel Hume, you've got Nancy Silverton, or Sean Brock, Dominique Crenn, Dan Barber, Charlie Trotter. There's just, there's some of us that are no longer here anymore. Speaking of Charlie Trotter, but Gray Coons and some of these that, know that you're also, that's a good point too, is knowing that you're stepping into, there's a very rich history of being a chef. And that's not just in our country, it's in the world. Many chefs, there's a lineage involved, one chef stemming from the other, and we pass those teachings along and those styles along to each other with those that we believe will be the next in line. And so know that you're also with people that where you can, as long as you walk with humble feet and a strong work ethic and drive. I mean, I call it strive and drive. You're striving to show that chef that you have the drive, the commitment, the loyalty to continue to keep learning. And it's one service at a time, one day at a time. As long as you can commit to that, you will build yourself a career path. But again, going into, there's other opportunities that maybe some movies or some literature or what have you that, for example, the movie Burnt, right? That was with Bradley Cooper. He was the chef Adam. That shows an internal struggle that he had with addiction and relationship struggles, and how he stepped out of it for a while and then got back into it. And it showed, really how fast our industry moves. He had to pick up the new techniques. He saw sous vide, and that movie does show an underbelly to our industry. There's this series called The Bear, where I think that's Jeremy Allen White. Carmy is the chef he plays. That's a young chef coming into his brother's failing restaurant, and it's more of a comfort food and family run. He wants to completely gut it, completely change it. It's, I think, post-COVID. I mean, because there's some restaurants that went out, and all of a sudden now he's like, he's in it, and it shows an insight to the internal chemistry of how kind of crazy a kitchen can be. That, I have to be honest, that one kind of gave me some flashbacks on the intensity. And, that's another one of how intense it really can be. The other is The Chef's Table. That's a great series of episodes that will show you world-renowned chefs that share their passion, their journey, where they are today, kind of where they found their inspiration from. There's also things like Mind of a Chef, which was with Chef Anthony Bourdain, another, rest in peace for him, another person that really showed, like with Kitchen Confidential, the underbelly about, how our industry is. Michael Roman is actually another good one if you want to look at a few of his books on the industry. He's pretty amazing. So look at the world's 50 best restaurants. They do the best of the best, a list that comes out that you can see chefs of the world. You can go into their websites and look at their menus, and I'm pointing these elite chefs out there. You need to be you. That's, you find your way, get your foundation, but make sure that you're original to yourself. A lot of these things have been done before, but if you do it your way, if you do it with your style, you're an artist. That's what a chef is, a leader, an artist. There's so many layers to the position. Looking at some of these examples and asking those questions in your community, it will help you get a perspective if you want to do this for your career path. And I know for myself, I'm going to continue to do this. Not only is it the best position to have ever, but there's just so much that you can take away from being an effective leader to being an effective leader in your community, and always creating something for yourself. That's what it is to be a chef. It's not, we're not going into it and being like, oh, it was an okay service. That was good, guys. That's all right. I mean, we don't look at it that way. That was outstanding. That was excellent. How do we, let's keep pushing the boundaries. Let's keep going. And that alone, with the young chefs coming in that are so driven, and with everything today and technology that we're dealing with cooking techniques and plating techniques, it's never going to stop. And I think that's the beauty of being a chef. So yeah, that's my perspective on everything. I do want to mention here as well that I've added, it's called the 86th Award. What I'd like to do is, if you could email me, james@chefmassey.com, your challenge or whatever had occurred in your day. You had a crappy day, this person treated you that way, this chef or this cook, I didn't appreciate how this went. and you think they deserve the 86th award, send it to me. Your first name, I'll mention your first name and your last initial. I can mention the state that you're in. If you're not comfortable with that, then that's fine too. We can keep it completely anonymous. Share what you're going through. Please feel free to reach out. Let's keep cooking. Yeah, all right, everyone. That is a wrap. You can check us out if you like that. Subscribe. Also, the Instagram, Chef Massey. Let's keep it simple. ChefMassey.com. Have a good one. Bye for now.